This comes out of Texas. Governor Greg Abbott declared a state of disaster in a Texas county after a deadly brain-eating amoeba was detected in his water supply and tied to the death of a 6-year-old boy this month. Residents of Lake Jackson were advised to boil their water before using after there's a scientific word for this brain-eating naegleria fowleri. Are you familiar with that strain?
We talked about it a few months ago, and prior to that, no, I was not familiar with it.
now you got that one in your
yeah.
You got that one tallied up.
I was thinking about this. It seems like these amoebas, are getting worse as time goes on. Is there some kind of crazy evolution of parasites that because I don't remember hearing about any of this prior to a few years ago.
No, me either. So now we need a new war on amoeba.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll bring that up during maybe the presidential debate, maybe this one coming up, or maybe it's in the next one.
I don't know. It's not sexy enough.
No.
You know what I mean? It's not sexy enough because who's going to sit there and say brain-eating amoeba doesn't, the fight between COVID on both sides, who's going to sit there and say that brain-eating amoeba isn't something you need to worry about, right?
Yeah, maybe they'll call it fake news.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
But it's absolutely bullshit. And this is actually
100%.
in the Houston area. So a previous warning extended to other cities in this county not to use water at all, but that was lifted only for them to say we haven't really gotten rid of this thing. So you have to boil your water. And so it's a, quote, imminent threat to public health and safety, including loss of life. Now, my question is, how often do you, I follow the news, but I don't follow local county news all that often. What if you just get up one morning and you turn on the tap and you have a glass of water?
Yeah.
My guess is maybe this thing is even small enough to go through a filter or something like that. You just ingested a whole bunch of brain-eating amoeba, and I check my phone at 11 o'clock in the morning or something, just whatever for news, and it says, there's a boil water notice.
God, your tap water. It's kind of common sense, if you get sitting water in lakes and things like that, which is where these things live big time, in the southern states, because you get sitting bodies of water you can go to a sitting body of water, especially some of them, and you can smell it and just be like, that is some nasty water. There's some shit in that. But your tap water, oh man, you can't get away from it. That's supposed to be the safe water. You know what I mean? And I was reading the article and it says you apparently can't get it from ingesting it. If there's the brainy amoeba in the tap water and you just drink it, apparently it doesn't do anything. You can't. It has to go up your nose. But I think that's bullshit. Are you really going to risk it? It's I can't get it from ingesting it, so you drink it. I must be fine. No, that's just ugh.
No, and if you're anything like me, sometimes I have a glass of water. I don't know if I have got a mental problem or not, but sometimes I get some training down my chin, or it'll splash. It's actually not. It's very likely actually that a single water droplet might actually splash back up into your nose or something, right?
Yeah, how many times? It's like a joke. How many times have you? Someone said something funny while you were drinking and you get soda or water up your nose or something like that. You know what I mean?
So far I've been able to successfully drink my coffee. So no dribbling, but yeah, you got a spit take and suddenly you got brain-eating amoeba.
Yeah. This is how the real zombie apocalypse starts. You know what I mean? It's going to it already eats brains, right? That's what zombies do. They eat your brains.
Yeah.
And this is a brain, it's just a zombie virus. So
this is the new thing. Yeah.
That's all it needs to do is mutate into the form where it takes over a human host and you become the amoeba.
And then, the amoeba, the amoeba is hungry for brain.
Yeah.
So then it just points you at brains and you go and you eat them.
Yeah.
Now, this is also, by the way, this is not just in Texas. There's a story from out of the Daily Star, out of the UK. A gardener's brain turned to liquid by flesh-eating killer pot plant bug. So same idea here. And let's take a look at what this thing does let's take a look at what this thing does inside your head. You see that? That the normal one on the left, which I guess they spotted the infection, and then that literally just turns to mush, Zach.
Ugh.
That's disgusting. And then look at this.
Oof.
This is some flesh eating. I don't know what some kind of netting they put on. That's Could you imagine waking up in the morning and taking a look at that?
Ugh.
God. Now, this one is just on the subject. This one, after eating a flesh-eating bug, he caught from a cut on his big toe. He was told his chance was 1 in 4 of surviving the bug when he contracted from a small cut on his toe. 36-year-old from Cork. His best case, he'd lose his leg. I mean, I think, Zach, I think we all have plenty enough to worry about instead of this nonsense.
Oh, yeah. Now, there was a flesh-eating bacteria in the water near my house where we live at one point.
Really?
Yeah, they're in like the bay near the ocean. There was a lot of like warnings and things about it. It wasn't like a pandemic-ish, but it was kind of like if you go swimming and you have open cuts, like you need to be careful because you might get the flesh-eating like bacteria. And I remember like we were swimming in the water or whatever. We got in, we're like, all right, make sure nobody has any cuts on them. So we was okay, we're fine. So we went swimming. And like my dog was like swimming with us and it like jumped on my dad's back and like its claws just like made this gigantic cut all down my dad's back, like while we were in the water. And we looked at him, we're like, well, sorry, Pop, but you got to get
I hope that brief swim was worth the risk.
Yeah, it was. He didn't get it, but still, it was kind of like everyone was like, "Great,
good." Well, I mean, even in like, was this in the summertime?
Yeah, it was like 2 summers ago.
Yeah, so even then, like, it's not that anyone's walking around with like huge gashes in their leg or anything like that. But a mosquito bite, I mean, does that count as a cut? I mean, you've got I mean, if you're out there in the summer and you're getting bit by mosquitoes, you're scratching. I mean, your skin's open a little bit. I don't know. That's that's a pretty high standard. So thankfully he didn't get the flesh eating.
Yeah.
Now, this causes symptoms similar to bacterial meningitis, including headaches, fever, nausea, vomiting, making initial diagnosis challenging. The infection progresses rapidly, eventually causing neck stiffness, seizures, hallucinations, and then coma. Well, nice knowing you, Bob.
Yeah.
Or Frank or Jim, whatever. I mean, goodness. I mean, I'm with you. I expect my drinking water to be 100% safe 100% of the time, unless there's some like big natural disaster or something. Other than that, this is just kick up the chlorine a little bit or something.